Hello, welcome to the concept video for What's on My Beach. I'm Brent Thompson, I'm your host, and we're going to find out what's on my beach. It's not really my beach. I do live here, but the beach is public access, more or less. Others would argue it's not, but for all intents and purposes, as long as you're not camping here, you can walk here as much as you want. This beach is home to a rocky substrate, a geological dump from a glacier that came here. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know how long, but I can get that information for you. The tide is currently out fairly far. We're going to look for something entertaining. What you see now is just a bunch of rocks. And these rocks covered in seaweed, barnacles, algae. These rocks are home to all those mentioned plant species, but also to all sorts of other creatures. And here we have the peridot crab. Just a little guy. His brothers and sisters were in here also, but they scurried away. This little guy lives on the beach and eats small little sand fleas, other smaller crustaceans. And he likes to run away and hide. So that's the peridot crab. Let's see what else we can find on the beach. Not too far away, we have another rock. This rock, though, is not the best example, but it's called a wishing rock because it has a ring that goes all the way around it. What you do is you make a wish and you throw it into the sea. This beach is home of lots of these types of rocks. Here's another one. Really what happened was during the geological process a couple hundred years ago, maybe 100 million years ago, the sediment on the ocean just kept dropping and dropping and dropping, layers and layers, and then something happened where there was a change, and it put in this layer of a harder rock type stuff. We'll get that information in there also. But then that small little brief period in time stopped, and then it began with pretty much the same sediment from before. Possibly came out from a river, or the currents brought it around. There's lots of ways that could have happened. And then the Earth, a couple 100 million more years later, was thrust up and broke off into chunks, and this rock broke off into a big piece, and then the waves and the action rolled it around and around and around on top of other rocks, and that chunk became smaller and smaller. This rolled around, and it's still rolling around today, and giving it that really cool look. Yep, another one, same thing. There's a couple wishing rocks. Now, if I make a wish and I throw it in the water, I'd probably throw my arm out because it's a heavy rock and the water's still far away. So we'll save this rock and do that later. Those are just a couple brief ideas. On what to do. This beach is full of so much stuff. I just love to show all of it off. It seems simplistic, like there's not that much going on, but there's such a wide variety of rock and plant life and wildlife, both big and small. This area is home to the largest octopus in the world, the Pacific giant octopus. I have found one of those on the beach. It was an infant. It wasn't very big, but I'm not holding my hopes up for that. I'll have to get my scuba gear and show you that. Maybe for a future episode. Well, hey, thanks for listening to the concept. Kind of see where it might go from here. And we'll talk to you later.